He's been called the Max Verstappen of the WRC. Now rallying's record-breaking superstar Kalle Rovanpera is quitting the stages for circuit racing, single-seaters and, he hopes, eventually Formula 1. If you thought Colton Herta walking away from a top IndyCar seat to throw himself into Formula 2 in pursuit of a Cadillac F1 drive was bold, or maybe even crazy, then Rovanpera's leap into the unknown is on another level. The 25-year-old Finn is the youngest podium finisher, youngest rally winner and youngest world champion in WRC history. But he's happy to park all that and switch initially to Japanese single-seater series Super Formula. Rovanpera's doing this with his WRC employer Toyota's blessing and support. Toyota and arch-rival Honda supply the Super Formula field between them, and Toyota's currently on a title-winning run. Rovanpera sees Super Formula as a 2-year programme, and then he intends to switch to Formula 2. What happens after that, or if that F2 move happens at all, is going to depend on how Rovanpera performs. But given the people he has behind him, he definitely has routes that point towards F1. And in terms of raw driving talent, he's clearly up there with the very best in the world. That Verstappen of the WRC comparison was being made long before Rovanpera even joined the World Rally Championship. Father whose top-level career didn't live up to his hopes? Check. Though Harry Rovanpera was a WRC winner, albeit just once, and had factory seats with Seat, Peugeot, Mitsubishi and Skoda, so his WRC career does eclipse Jos Verstappen's winless stint in F1 with Benetton, Simtek, Footwork, Tyrrell, Stewart, Arrows and Minardi. Intense preparation for a motorsport career as a child? Check. Footage of a very young Kalle hurling his dad's rally cars around dirt tracks and frozen lakes became legendary in rallying circles during the 2010s. Rapid graduation to the top level? Check. Rovanpera had 2 and a bit years in the WRC's lower classes before Toyota put him in its top-class car for 2020 at the age of 19. Record-breaking early success? Check. Kalle finished on the podium in round 2 that year, became the WRC's youngest ever winner the following season, then its youngest ever world champion when he sealed the 2022 title a day after he turned 22. After a successful title defence in 2023, he decided to take a break in 2024 and switch to a part-time season, taking a bit of a gap year effectively in which he dabbled in circuit racing, mostly in Porsches, and also did a lot of drifting. He was coy about what his circuit racing goals might be when we interviewed him while he was racing Porsches. But his Porsche team manager and driver coach Mark Goossens, a man who got pretty close to F1 as a Formula 3000 race winner in the 1990s, was pretty convinced. You put him in a Formula 1 car now, he'll be fast in it, Goossens declared to us. Later in the year, someone did. Rovanpera has been a Red Bull athlete throughout his career, and in keeping with Red Bull's habit of getting its stars from other parts of motorsport into its F1 cars, Red Bull put him in Sebastian Vettel's 2012 title winner for some laps of the Red Bull Ring in 2024. He also drove Formula 4 and Formula Renault 3.5 cars in preparation before covering 50 laps in the F1 car, an experience he absolutely loved and which seems to have got him thinking. It's a big ask. Pretty much everyone on the F1 grid has been karting since childhood, then into single-seaters in their teens. Even 1996 F1 world champion Damon Hill, who was a famously late starter in car racing, having dabbled initially with motorbikes, was into Formula Ford by the age of 23. Rovanpera's comments about how different everything about the F1 car felt during his Red Bull run show how much brain and sensation rewiring he'll need to do. Having only done bits of sim and GT racing so far, Rovanpera now faces a hell of a crash course. Rallying and circuit racing also require very different mindsets. FIA Single-Seater Commission President Emanuele Pirro recently suggested crossovers between rallying and single-seaters are harder than ever because with the risk levels and changing grip levels of rally stages, there is a degree of managing how much you push compared to the 100% always method of circuit racing. That, Pirro reckons, is why so many circuit drivers just crash incessantly when they go rallying. Is the mindset switch in the other direction just as hard? And we haven't even got onto the element of Rovanpera racing around other cars after a lifetime of having rally stages to himself. Super Formula is a tough starting point. Toyota's involvement opens the door there, but it's a field packed full of Japan's top domestic talent, all with huge circuit car and tyre experience, none of which Rovanpera will have. Liam Lawson, Stoffel Vandoorne and Pierre Gasly all fared very well when they diverted from European racing to Super Formula on their routes to F1, but they had GP2/F2 experience to call on. It's very, very different for Rovanpera. But Super Formula cars being faster than F2 also means that while they may be tougher to get to grips with initially, they're closer to what Rovanpera is ultimately aiming for. At 25, he hasn't got time to start off in F4. Then there's the super license points to consider. The Super Formula champion gets 30, so even if he managed that incredible feat, Rovanpera would need to top his score up in F2 or get an exemption, and you'd probably anyway want an F2 season for circuit, Pirelli tyre and F1 circus experience. But Rovanpera does have some powerful potential helpers on his route up this massive mountain. This is all being done under the Toyota umbrella, and Toyota has an F1 partnership with Haas that's in large part about creating F1 chances for Toyota drivers. So far, that's been focused on Japanese talents. Ritomo Miyata and Ryo Hirakawa have been out in Haas cars this year, and so have Toyota's ex-F1 racers turned team bosses Kamui Kobayashi and Kazuki Nakajima. The Toyota tie-up has given Haas the opportunity to run its own testing of previous cars programme for the first time in its history. It's very easy to imagine Rovanpera getting plenty of preparation mileage in old Haas's in Europe, in the gaps in the pretty short Super Formula calendar. It's not just Toyota that could help Rovanpera out though. Maybe last year's Red Bull ring run won't be the only time we see him in a Red Bull family F1 car. If there's any F1 organisation that would be up for a wild punt on talent that's come via an unconventional route, it's Red Bull. Helmut Marko was a driving force behind WRC legend Sebastian Loeb coming close to racing for Toro Rosso in F1 in 2009. More on that in a moment, and you could imagine him being very excited by Rovanpera's plan. Might some rapid Haas TPC times or eye-catching Super Formula results tempt Red Bull to swoop in on a driver it's had just as long a relationship with as Toyota has? There's a long history of rallying greats trying F1 cars. Colin McRae was reported to be pretty rapid in the Jordan he tried in 1996, while his big late 90s WRC rival Tommy Mäkinen didn't fare so well when he crashed a Williams a few years later. Carlos Sainz Sr., who's had a few F1 runs over the years, was in a Ferrari F1 car as recently as last Christmas. He was let loose in the 2022 car around Fiorano as part of a leaving present for his son Carlos Jr., and very much enjoyed himself after an early spin. Rovanpera is also the third Red Bull-backed WRC champion who's been allowed out in a Red Bull F1 car. Sebastian Ogier tried one in 2017, but the most valuable precedent here, good and bad, is Sebastian Loeb. His initial Red Bull F1 test was just a publicity day that came together after his Citroën WRC team picked up Red Bull backing in 2008. But things escalated. He took part in a fully fledged F1 test and set a lap time that would have qualified him 19th for the 2008 Spanish Grand Prix. Loeb started doing an F1 standard fitness programme at the age of 35 and testing GP2 cars. Red Bull's idea was to place him in the Toro Rosso lineup for the 2009 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and maybe a full F1 switch would have been on the cards if that had gone well. But Loeb was denied a super licence and it all fizzled out. He just kept on winning WRC titles for a few more years, and his eventual circuit racing career came mainly in touring cars. That super licence hurdle is a warning for Rovanpera too, as Herta has also found exemptions are simply not on offer, no matter how big a star you may be in another part of motorsport. You need to get the results and the numbers on the F1 ladder, where the big super licence points are offered. And while Loeb was certainly quick enough for Red Bull to take seriously as an F1 option, he had a bit more circuit racing grounding than Rovanpera, thanks to occasional sports car programmes that included 2 cracks at the Le Mans 24 Hours with Pescarolo's LMP1 team, finishing second overall in 2006. Le Mans may yet be where Rovanpera ends up. The World Endurance Championship is Toyota's main circuit racing programme right now, and though it's struggling at the moment and quietly scowling at the hypercar balance of performance rules, it's got a new car on the way for 2026 and cannot be written off. Rovanpera's very open about being interested in Le Mans, and being a frontrunner there would be an enormous achievement in itself if the F1 push doesn't work out. Whatever happens from here, Rovanpera's F1 dream and willingness to dive into it headfirst is a fantastic story at a time when Max Verstappen's Nordschleife GT heroics and endurance racing ambitions are leaving his F1 rivals jealous, and hinting at a new era of open-mindedness and cross-disciplinary adventures for the world's greatest drivers.